And now, the Lafayette Food Junkie Show, served up medium rare every Sunday night.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is a cold one out there. I hope you guys are all bundled up indoors. Jesse Ryder is joining us again as guest co-host tonight.
Howdy.
This is our last show for the next 2 weeks. We're taking the next 2 weeks off to celebrate Christmas and New Year's. So we're going to kind of give you a holiday show for all of you out there to enjoy at home. Jesse is actually watching the Saints game while the show is going on.
It's because they haven't done a whole lot of winning, and it's nice to actually watch them win.
Oh, yeah? But you said that they're not making it to the playoffs?
No, I don't. I believe we're mathematically excluded from the playoffs, but you never know.
You all played last night in New Orleans, too.
Yeah, and they fell a little short of victory there. But, you know, I hate the fact that they stick to Louisiana teams in New Orleans. You know, they kill me with that.
Yeah.
It's like the whole reason for bowl games is so that you can travel and create commerce. And you know, it kind of defeats the whole purpose to me. But whatever, it was good. It's almost like a home game for them, I guess.
So I know what I'm going to be doing for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. What are you going to be doing from working in the restaurant industry side of things?
Oh, well, Christmas Eve is a
work day.
It's a special time of year for us restaurants.
Are y'all super busy on Christmas Eve?
Yeah, I believe they started taking reservations about 3 weeks ago. So what they do is it's like a Mother's Day for us, except it's at night.
Yeah.
We'll have 3 different times or 4 different times where they do crash seatings where they'll just seat the whole restaurant. We'll serve 50 or 60 people at a time and do that 3 or 4 times over. And at around midnight, we'll start cleaning up and we'll go home.
And you're kind of just going to sleep the whole day.
I feel like I have to work a double on Monday because, again, it
starts over. And then New Year's Eve is another big one.
New Year's Eve, we'll be lucky if we get out of there before 2 a.m. on New Year's. And we don't work at a bar, you know, but it gets wild. But it's okay. It's part of the limelight of the industry. You know what I'm saying? You get used to that.
Do you guys scream Happy New Year in the kitchen when it's midnight?
Last year, Devin went in the back. Well, maybe I shouldn't say this, but someone went in the back and shot off probably about $165 worth of fireworks. So, yeah, we celebrated.
Nice.
And then we went back in and did the dessert course.
Oh, God. It was in the middle of service?
Oh yeah. Listen, we've throughout the years, over several restaurants,
done some fun things.
We've always found a way to get a bottle of Jaeger in there and get a little toast right there at the end. But you know, you still got to finish up and you know, get to business. But yeah, you find a little time to make a celebration.
Nice. Well, okay, so for me, Christmas Eve, we're not going to have the kids, and it's just going to be me and Ben. So we're going to go see Rogue One.
Nice.
But I feel like Christmas Eve is a big movie theater night, so it may be a little busy. And then we're going to go have like a nice dinner somewhere. So we'll probably do that. And then we're going to have the kids Christmas Day. This will be my first year playing Santa Claus, too. In fact, I wrapped the Santa Claus
it's technically Mrs. Claus, right?
Today, yeah, I was Mrs. Claus. Wrapped the gifts today for them to come Sunday. And we're going to cook a big meal that night. So we're going to do the turkey rolls, which
right with you and Paulie.
Down in Paul, like Paul Credo, who guest co-hosts a lot on the show that works at Pour. He was gracious enough to help me show me how to break down a turkey to do a turkey roll. And it was I'm not going to say it was fun, like, ooh, it was fun, but I learned a lot. I feel like I need more lessons, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
I feel like you and Paulie probably had a pretty good time.
We did. And like I said, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I didn't have a lot of the strength that I thought I would have to be able to cut through the bones. So it took me a little bit longer to get through the bones than it did he.
You big old sissy.
But we got it, and it was fun, and I came home with 3 turkey rolls.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
So we're going to take one of the turkey rolls, wrap it in bacon. We're doing that. I'm doing a special macaroni and cheese that his son can eat because he can't have gluten or corn.
She says special because she's got a secret ingredient in it that I'm not going to blurt out over the radio. No, I'm curious about it, and I think it'll do well.
My macaroni and cheese recipe is stupid easy. It's just So
Well, it's supposed to be. It's pasta and cheese and cream.
Well, okay, so instead of the flour and everything to make like your roux that you would start in the beginning, I just do cream cheese and heavy cream, and you melt that down and it'll thicken up. You add cheddar cheese. I like to use extra sharp cheddar cheese.
Right.
Use that, and then I add some dry mustard.
That's the one.
Secret ingredient.
That's the one. I cannot wait.
Yeah. So, and we're just going to get some gluten-free.
You don't understand. A baked macaroni casserole thing is like
my favorite.
One of my favorite things in the whole world. Yeah. It really is. So I'm gonna try this little dry mustard thing out.
Yeah, it's really good. I found.
Listen, if you ever made your own homemade barbecue sauce and you didn't know to use dry mustard in it, then you don't know what you were missing. Like everyone says, oh, it's just ketchup and mustard and brown sugar and blah blah blah. Try dry mustard; it'll change your life.
Yeah, I found a recipe years ago that had dry mustard in it, and I used it and liked it, and I've just been.
What's
using
that can? It's a yellow can. It's got red writing on it.
No, it's just the spice. In the spice section, it's just dry mustard. Like it's with the spices.
I feel like there's like a Gabber Girl type brand of that, but
maybe so. But mine is just
fire
spice. We're doing mashed potatoes, but like real mashed potatoes this time.
No turnips.
Not the turnips that I tried to feed them last time. And we're gonna do green beans. I'm gonna roast the green beans in the oven. Use a lot of bacon grease. Ben told me that the kids will eat green beans if they have sugar in them.
I'm telling you.
So instead of using the sugar, I'm going to do satsuma juice because it'll get that sugar in there. And it'll be nice too to get that citrus.
Smart. I like it. Right.
Yeah.
A little acid, a little sugar. It'll be great.
Yeah. So I think it'll be.
Make it sweet and savory with the bacon grease. It'll be wonderful.
I'm looking forward to that. And so I assume that New Year's Eve, you're also, you said you were working.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm going to be at work. I'm sure Coach made the schedule. I don't even. Sometimes you just assume you're going to pitch certain games, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think for New Year's, we're going to just have a really decadent meal before we start the new year. And I'm probably going to get waiter, kind of take it easy.
There's not too many people that said this on this time of year, but I'm actually a little bit ahead right now. So I'm going to take the first 5 available days I can take off in January and try to finish off my goose hunting and deer hunting and just take some time. I will go visit mom and them and do our little Christmas. It'll be late, but I'll cook her some kind. I did a suckling duck for Thanksgiving for her. I don't know what I'll do. I have a deer I killed. Maybe I'll take a loin out and roast it for her.
What would be your decadent New Year's Eve meal if you didn't have to cook and you could actually go eat something?
If I could just go eat something somewhere, I would probably want to go eat like boiled crabs.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be your decadent meal?
I would want to drink some Jack Daniels and eat some boiled crabs somewhere. Somewhere I could eat a lot and not actually be that full. You know what I'm saying? Like you can spend a lot of time working on that, have you a couple of drinks, and that would be real, or like some really, really nice boiled shrimp, something fresh, some small batch.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
For me right now, it'd probably be bread and circus. I'm on such a bread and circus kick right now. The gnocchi that I had that had the meat sauce, I want it. And it was so good cold the next day too.
Right.
And then their pizza. Like, I had some of their pizza. The bottom was burnt a little bit. And it was still...
Well, yeah.
Such good.
Well, that's what that brick oven's for.
Dreams are made of
right.
This pizza. So it would probably be bread and circus right now, but I don't know yet exactly what we're going to do, but we're working on it.
I'm working on converting my mom. I made her a really, really nice brick fire pit. And then I saw some people who were converting their fire pits to brick ovens, and they were cooking pizzas right next to their campfire. And I thought that was a great idea. So me and my buddy Devin started looking at some of that, and we're trying to engineer, because I didn't use the same kind of bricks they did, but I feel like we can engineer it to where I can have me a little brick oven set up right next to my little fire pit, and it's going to be nice. And I'll just... it'll be part smoker, part brick oven, depending on how I set it up. It'll be nice.
Okay, we are going to take our first break, and when we come back, we have more with Jesse. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
The best tasting radio show in all of South Louisiana. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and joining as guest co-host tonight is Chef Jesse Ryder, and we're talking all things holidays. Right as we were going into the beginning of the show, someone called. I am running the boards tonight, so we are not able to answer the phones, but if you have any questions, you can email Lafayette Food Junkie, and that's JUNKIE @gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to answer any email questions that you might have. Okay, so before the show started, there was this little PSA on food safety, and we were kind of laughing a little bit about it. Man, what Brenda does everything wrong.
Mandy does everything wrong. Brenda does everything wrong. Something like that.
Somebody does everything wrong,
and she was talking. It was like, I take my steaks out and marinate them on the cabinet overnight, just like Grandma. That was.
I don't think my grandmother has ever left anything out overnight.
You can't hardly do that with butter in Louisiana, you know.
Maybe depending on the temperature.
That was hot. It's hot. It was 80 degrees yesterday.
I'm not even gonna lie that sometimes when I've cooked food, like it's already cooked, and
you let that sit. That's fine.
I may leave it overnight.
Now, I'm
not endorsing that.
I'll leave my rice pot full of rice overnight, maybe, and use that again.
I would not do that. I wouldn't do rice just because I don't like cold rice.
Well, yeah, but you heat it up, silly.
Yeah, but I don't like reheated rice. Like
you put a little splash of water in that. You put the lid back on. You hit the timer again. You're good.
What do you think are some other common food safety things? You were telling me on the ride over here that we're not supposed to be washing poultry.
Listen, okay, that's like the new thing in like home food safety. It's like they don't want you to wash it after you get it from the store. We're like, well, why not? Well, because everything you're gonna wash off potentially is gonna cook out, like all the bacteria and stuff. But what you're doing is you're making yourself extra susceptible to the salmonella and the trichinosis, all this stuff that's coming off of it is getting on your cabinets, it's getting on your hands, and then you're not properly washing your hands or your sink or your cabinets or your cutting board, and then it's getting everywhere, and then your kid rolls an orange on the cabinet top and then eats it, and the next thing you know, you got salmonella and you're suing the school.
I don't know. I'm a washer. I think I will always be a
washer. I know, me
washer.
too. I know.
I think, and honestly, chicken is one of those things that I wash it.
Yeah, because it's grimy.
Wash my hands, cut it up, wash my hands again.
No, that's just silly.
I'm like obsessively washing my hands with a chicken because I'm so scared of salmonella. And I'm not that big with beef because I kind of eat raw beef. Like, we'll just be honest. But chicken is like another story for me. And
I know, but you're cooking it.
I know.
If you're worried about the salmonella is the one thing like 135 degrees, dead.
I'm a washer. I think I'm always going to be a washer. It's just going to happen. So I was having this lesson with Paul last week about cutting the chicken. One of the big things. Turkey. Hey, I kept telling him that I was going to use this for when I debone a turkey at home. A chicken. See, I just got them mixed up. It happens. Chickens, turkeys, it's all poultry.
It's a Freudian slip.
It's all poultry.
Poetry?
Poetry.
Poultry?
Now I'm messing everything up.
That's good.
I was not holding the knife correctly. I kept wanting to stick my finger out when I was doing it, and he kept telling me, no, to like grip it, because then you really have...
You lose all your leverage when you push your finger out, you know?
Yeah, that's what he was telling me. But it's like an automatic thing. So I guess that's something that you learn more as you cook, to grip and not use the pointer finger.
It's tough because like at some point, you know, at some point you got to do what's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone says there's a right way and a wrong way to hold a knife, and it's like, yeah, the way that works is the right way, you know, because I hold my knives really, really weird. I hold them super high, some of them super high up on the blade, some of them I hold super far back on the handle, just how it's comfortable and wherever I can get leverage. But you got to be careful about sticking your fingers out there. They'll get caught up on all kind of stuff. The thing about sticking your finger down the edge of the blade like that, it's like you keep it on top. Well, it helps you guide where the blade's going. But if you're cutting through anything that you're cutting through is going to rub up against your flesh, and you can scratch yourself. Getting cut by the bone of an animal is one of the easiest ways to get like blood poison.
Okay, well then that's another food safety lesson that we just learned.
Well, I'm just saying, like it takes a jagged edge and it cuts you open and it puts whatever bacteria is right there, which bacteria is everywhere. Don't fool yourself. And it just puts it right under your skin or right under a jagged edge. It's terrible.
Okay, good to know. No pointing, gripping all the way on the knife. And he also tasted the infamous kimchi.
And said it was unedible.
He said it was inedible, but he said that I could use it for compound butters or stock. He said it'd be really good in those. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how to make a compound butter because I kind of feel like I have the idea.
Compound butter is something that French chefs started making, and they were like, oh, oui, franc. And guess what? It's really just softened butter with really good like herbs and garlic most commonly. And you just pour some of that into the butter. You mix it all till it's a compound. And then you like wrap it up in like a silver dollar shape with saran wrap, and you cool it, and you can cut little
pieces off,
medallions off.
Use it for
put that on steak.
Yeah.
A lot of steakhouses, they'll like to get an herb and garlic compound butter, and they'll cook your steak. And when they put it in the window, they'll put that medallion on there, and it'll just kind of
melt into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to do that with the kimchi.
With your kimchi, I would use that for fish ball.
Yeah, and also non-salted butter.
Non-salted butter, real talk.
Salty, and then just a tiny bit.
Tiny.
Just a super tiny bit.
Tiny bit.
Okay.
If it with the way yours just chunked up, you're gonna have to break it down a little bit.
We talked about that. I'm gonna puree it because I was telling him that I was gonna puree it.
You could puree that and put that in a jar.
And also, I learned that the reason why it didn't get as liquidy was because it was so chunky.
Right. It didn't have enough.
Needed to be. Yeah. He suggested even doing the vegetable grater and just getting them rolling.
Yeah.
And then he let me taste his kimchi, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, mine
sucks. Well, he's a professional chef, you know.
And it was my first one. He was impressed though even with it being inedible.
Listen, your effort was good. It was unedible because of the salt, not because of anything else.
If you've been listening to the radio show, you know that I've had a weekly CSA. We're nearing the end of it. And one of the big things that I learned is that it's a lot for two people. But if you want to go in with a friend, you can kind of
split the difference.
Split the difference. And that's what I've been doing the last few weeks with my friend Ann Falgu, who's been a guest co-host on the show. I've been giving her my extras, and she's been doing stuff with them. And we talked about going in together on another CSA because I like it, and it's made me really creative in the kitchen.
Listen, I said, so hey, how's the CSA thing working? What's going on with that? She said, oh, it's great. I was like, man, they send you some good stuff. She's like, well, yeah, man. Except I'm kind of getting tired of turnip greens and dandelions. Now, I understand because turnip greens, they're like a useful byproduct of growing turnips, and they can be used in several applications that are delicious. Dandelions are a weed that grow on the side of the road. How they got you to spend your money on that, being the good consumer that you are? I'm curious.
Okay, and this is what I was telling you, that there's a lot of fancy restaurants out there that use dandelion greens in their salads, and it's a very pinky up, even though it is a weed. People pay a lot of money to have dandelion greens in their salads.
We're in the wrong business, Ma.
And so we were discussing alternate uses for dandelion greens other than salad or like wilted down or sauteed. You said you're not a fan of dandelion greens.
I wouldn't use that to mulch my garden.
Okay. Well, I'm attempting a pesto tonight with it. I found a recipe online.
Good. I'm glad. There's a lot of greens in this world you shouldn't be eating. There was a time where we were getting these garnishes. There were some miniature corn plants. And the first bite.
That's very 80s.
When you would take
miniature corn.
Yeah. Well,
you know what that actually reminds me of?
You would take a bite.
Big,
yeah.
Where he's like eating it like a regular corn.
Well, no, I'm not. It wasn't it wasn't like a miniature corn on the cob. I was saying like it was like a little plant. It was like two little leaves. You could tell there was a sprout of corn.
Oh, okay.
And it was great because you would bite into it and it was really, really sweet. And then it was bitter and chewy and stalky. And I couldn't understand why we would even put that trash on top of our food. And Coach said, it's progressive. This is what the people are doing. It looks nice. And it did. It looked really nice. If I wanted to ruin $35 of fish and crab meat.
That was a nice little rant on Dandelion green.
Well, I'm just saying, not all greens are delicious. I'm just don't fall subject to the hype.
But I'm trying to find alternate uses.
Well, didn't you say you were going to make pesto? Didn't you say you were going to make pesto with pizzas?
I'm going to do pesto. But also, we got green tomatoes this week. I did a green tomato salsa verde, which came out really good.
They say dandelion tea is good.
With the greens?
They say you can. They say you can. I was
thinking that it would be the flour.
Well, maybe so, but you can steep dandelion somehow.
Okay, I'll have to research that.
That's the only other way I've ever really heard of it.
They're kind of bitter too, so they're not my favorite.
You don't say.
It's not my favorite, but I will find a use for them because I do not like food waste. So
no, I hear that.
We will find something unique.
We should make ice cream with it.
Ice. Oh Lord. Oh, do you want to know that? So last time you came on the show, we came up with the cracklin ice cream.
They have one.
Paul said that it wouldn't work because the cracklin would get too chewy.
I disagree. We would have to make he
said it would be good for a topping, but not in the ice cream.
I disagree. I bet you if we made like peanut brittle but with cracklins, and it would be like encased in like the little caramel, it would do fine.
Yeah. I maintain, as you do, that our cracklin ice cream will work with Steen syrup. I think there has to be Steen syrup in there.
We can do that. We can make Steen's caramel.
This has to happen at some point.
I have an ice cream maker less than a mile away from us right now.
Why haven't you been working on that since
I don't have any,
the last time you came on the show?
I say I'm doing a little bit better now. I'm not doing good enough to be experimenting with ice cream, but I will be soon.
Okay. All right, we are going to take another break, and we're going to talk cookbooks when we come back. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
From Boudin to the best burgers Acadiana has to offer, it's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and joining tonight as guest co-host is Chef Jesse Ryder. You have some cooking classes coming up at Rouse's next week, right?
I do, and it's going to be the last ones I do probably for 6 months or so.
Really?
The chick that's doing them, Shelby, is no longer going to be setting them up, and I'll probably be heading on out of the Lafayette area in the next couple of months. So I don't know how many more I'm going to do, but it's a shame. It's been like 8 years that I've been doing them there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So can people still sign up for the one?
They free. You just walk in. Actually, the kids class is Thursday evening, and we're going to be doing gingerbread houses. I haven't turned into Shelby what I'm going to do Tuesday.
Oh, so it's a wild card.
Well, I figured, at this point in the game, I didn't need to hustle up any information for anybody. I could let them be surprised.
Maybe I'll take the kids to the gingerbread one.
It would be fun. I'm just going to fill them up with sugar and send them back home with you, though. I mean, you got to be careful.
They're staying at their mom, so I'm okay with
that. We could totally do that.
We can do that. Okay, so for some reason, end of the year, Christmas, I always want to collect cookbooks and get new cookbooks.
That's got to be like a homemaker thing.
I have an addiction. That's what I was going to ask you. As a chef, do you...
I cookbook nothing.
Look at cookbooks, or?
I look up stuff on the intranet.
I do too, a lot.
And I guess those references mostly come from some cookbooks. I remember when I was young, Mr. Gene Buller, which was Josh and Rebecca Kretz's grandfather, he had wrote a wild game cookbook, and I'd flipped through it and realized that I knew a lot of what he was already saying in there, and so I didn't pay much. But when I'm baking, there's a couple. Brandon Aguilar has like the Heavenly God of Pasta cookbooks.
Oh wow!
So I mean, some of them are worth a read, but I don't invest too much of my own money in that.
Do you remember the name of the wild game cookbook?
No.
I just put you on the spot.
I could text my mama and get that for you in a little bit.
We can see. I'm a big fan. I like the Junior League cookbook that they put out. Talk About Good. They put that out every year. That's a good one. Okay, so the ones that I'm kind of obsessed with right now are Anthony Bourdain's new cookbook, Appetites. But it runs almost art book.
Right.
And I talked about it on the last show that it's a lot of like spilled food on the floor, a lot of feet with like food splatter. I don't know what that's about. And it's a lot of inspirations from his world travels. But I will say that I don't feel intimidated trying to make it, I guess. So it's not like too above my level of cooking expertise, but it is a little more like beautiful to look at.
Right. It's appealing visual.
How much I'm going to actually cook out of it.
Thing about a cookbook is like this. It's like, think about when you were young and you read excerpts from like the Bible. And then you went to church and you read the correlating excerpts and it was just a little bit different because it was a different translation of it. And then you went to Sunday school and then you heard the preacher tell the story about the same thing that you read. And it was a little different because it was his interpretation of it. And so like all the way down the road, people are cooking things as they read it from a book. And if you ever had a text message conversation with someone and then had that same conversation with them in person and realized just how much inflection of word and the differences in spoken language as far as written down. It's difficult sometimes to translate what's written into a book into a pot.
Yeah, I agree. So that's his book. Okay, I happen to be a big fan of the tasty videos that are on Facebook. It's like
me too. That and Chef Steps.
In like 60 seconds and super easy.
Yeah, the tasty.
Super fast. Well, they have a cookbook, too, and you can actually make it. Like, you make it, you can pick what kind of topic areas you want, and then they'll send it to you.
Awesome.
And I really liked that.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
Only because you can look up those recipes, and they will visibly show you what you...
Right. Yeah, so I like that idea.
Because if I told you to brown an onion, and I told Paul to brown an onion, y'all onions would look different.
Right. And mine would probably be very, very chunky because I cut everything.
You chunky monkey, you.
Huge chunks.
You do.
Thug Kitchen is another one that I'm a
Snoop Dogg's?
Big fan of. No, actually, they're a vegan blog website, but it's really entertaining. I've always wanted. They have a few cookbooks out now.
They got a pretzel recipe in that?
I don't know. But Thug Kitchen is another one. Side note, speaking of Snoop Dogg, since you just mentioned that.
You watched it. I know. I saw you.
All of the episodes, and I am obsessed with it. This is
bon?
the best show because it's just them together and the things that she says that are so inappropriate and then the things that he says that are so inappropriate. I'm like, this is
the fire. That's awesome.
In heaven. It's so great.
I'm glad it gets your thumbs up because I hadn't watched it yet. And I was waiting for your endorsement.
I like it because they both cook and they're both coming from different areas and
they both been in jail.
Yes, we talked about that last time. They both done jail time, and they each bring a guest on, and it's entertaining. It's a little off color. I feel like a lot of times I'm watching it and I'm like, how is this on the air?
Right.
It's a little un-PC, but
maybe that's what's the charm of it.
Maybe so, but. I think that they're going to get married. I feel like they're the odd couple, and it just completely works.
Awesome.
Whole30. I just ordered this book because in January I'm going to be doing the Whole30 diet, and I was expecting the cookbook to suck and just hate all of the recipes, and they just sound disgusting. Completely wrong. All of the recipes look super easy, look super tasty. I'm really excited to start the diet with the recipes that are in that book. So that's a really cool one. And then Vivian Howard, who is a chef out of the Carolinas, she has one that's called Deep Run Roots, and it's kind of stories. But I liked that one because it's a lot of vegetables and southern vegetables and how to cook those vegetables.
Right.
And maybe not in ways like she described it as you go to the farmer's market and you get this vegetable and you're like, I don't know how to cook this vegetable. Well, she has different recipes in there for that. So I liked it. So that one's going to be a cool one to check out. So those are a few that I like. I'm also hoping to get a Bon Appetit subscription. It's like $12.
Right.
But I also really like their recipes that they post on Facebook.
Some of them are all right.
So, okay, as a chef, going through and seeing all those recipes, like on Facebook, on social media, what do you think about some of them?
Okay, some of them are garbage, absolute garbage. But on a real level, it's like they're garbage because they use all these processed products. And in all reality, a pound of ground beef and a chunk of Velveeta, and you got yourself a can of Rotel, you got yourself a great cheese dip, bunch of bunch of pre-processed products. So they probably taste pretty good, most of them. But like you see them throwing cans of cream and mushroom soup
some of it's,
and
like, gross. Like,
pre-made breadcrumbs and all this stuff, and it's ridiculous, some of it, but some of it is really helpful. Like I said, I see my chef stuff on Facebook, and they taught me how to sous vide and make dumplings, and that's where I am forever grateful.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of, I'm also making a ham for Christmas off of a recipe that I saw online using a crock pot to cook it.
Right.
Which will be nice because it'll save oven space
and energy. Crock pots take like next to no electricity.
I know a lot of chefs that do not like crock pots. They cannot stand them. What are your thoughts on them?
I'm Cajun. I love crock pots.
Oh, okay. That's slow and low.
A crock pot is essentially a black pot that I don't have to change the temperature on the stove on.
I like them because as someone that works all day.
Plus, I like to make chili and soup, and that's
come home right, and it's perfect for meat. You just throw. I made a stew in there one night.
Like everyone always talks about pot roasting it and stuff like that, and that's great and all. But you want to talk about making awesome soup? You put all your soup fixings, and if it's too much fixings and not enough liquid, when you let that cook all day in the pot, you come home, you put your turkey necks in that. Oh my God, turkey necks and white beans in a crock pot all day. And you bring that home, and you come home and it's already cooked. You put a little bit of rice with that. Oh.
Speaking of soup, since it is incredibly cold outside, I had a really great tomato basil soup from La Madeleine today. Yeah. They just came out with this new app for smartphones, and you can order and everything, place your order, and then just go pick it up. So that's what I did. I ran in there and got it. And I like their breakfast, but the lunch stuff, like their sandwiches, I wasn't a big fan of.
I hear that a lot.
But what I got today, I think it was the Parisian. It had the rotisserie chicken, bacon, cheese, and mayo. And I dipped it into that tomato basil. Life-changing. It was so good. I was really impressed with them today. Speaking of
tomato basil soup is one of those things where, like, when you make it right, you wonder how anyone ever messed it up. But like all the time, you'll try and you'll be like, how did you mess this up? I don't get it. It's
soup is so comforting to me too, and I've talked about this before with you, in fact, especially tomato soup, tomato and grilled cheese. Like my mom used to make that for me. It's just so simple and so comforting.
In that same sense, last week when we got that first little cold spell, I had killed a deer a couple weeks back, and to me, when it gets cold, Dad would take the old deer shank and vegetable soup. So I put a bunch of vegetables in that little shank, and I let that cook all shift on the back burner. And just during the evening, I would put water in it and let it cook down all night. And we all ate that as a crew at the end of the shift, and it was phenomenal. It's just nice to have. It's so comforting. You're right.
Yeah, and I've been eating a lot of cheese. And I think a lot of it is because in January I'm not going to get to have any of it.
I know, so you're about to be
eating everything. But I can't have potatoes. I can't have white potatoes.
How are you going to be able to have jerky? Because I've been experimenting with jerky lately. No meat? If it has
sugar in it, I can't have it. So you basically can't have sugar, grains, and beans and nut and seeds.
Mm-hmm. Well, you should just kill me then instead of wanting me to do that diet.
The reason I'm doing it is because I want to see if I'm allergic to anything. Oh, and you can't have dairy. I just want to see how my body reacts taking all that stuff out, and then you gradually add it back in to see how your body reacts to see if you're allergic to it.
She says no dairy. In 28-degree weather earlier, me and Jean-Paul and his kid, we went ride to the store and got ice cream. So I'm not worried about it even in the cold weather. I couldn't do that diet.
Eat it all the time. I'm mostly worried about not having cheese. That's the big thing for me. I am excited that I can have potatoes.
Right.
I just I can't go somewhere and get French fries, but
yeah, but listen, you can a baked potato with salt and pepper will get you a long way.
Right. I can have that. I can have like roasted potatoes and
roasted with a little oil and some garlic. It'll be great.
All right, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Jesse. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
And now, we talk about food. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and Jesse Ryder has been joining us as guest co-host tonight.
Yeah, I've been making a few appearances lately.
Yeah. Okay, so I checked out. I got a Costco membership last week. I'm now obsessed with Costco.
You should have just waited a couple. If you'd have waited till January, wouldn't they have given you a gift?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because there's something about the end of the year. They give you something. Brian's a Costco member. He was giving me the lowdown the other day.
I love how you keep referencing all these people on the show.
Yeah,
and the people listening are like, who is he talking about?
They're just people.
Just people. Oh.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, it was great. I got like a huge coupon book, but ridiculously cheap alcohol. Like some of the whiskey prices. Okay, so Whistle Pig, which is a brand that I like, is normally about $80 retails. It was $60 there, so $20 difference. They really nice selection of whiskeys. I was impressed. I got a little.
I can't drink no $80 bottle of whiskey. Good Lord.
You drink it very slowly.
No, see, I don't drink whiskey slowly or for special occasions. All occasions are special.
You can get Jameson, a gallon of Jameson for like $40.
That's a little closer. I'm looking for that. Yeah. What did a gallon of Jack Daniels ran? That's what I need to know.
I don't think they had Jack Daniels.
Can't shop there.
They only have certain.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't shop. Old number 7. They can't do it.
But Prosecco normally runs about $11 a bottle.
Yeah, it's like $6.
It there for $6.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Great selection of cheese, reasonably priced cheese, meat selection.
And no Jack Daniels.
Was really nice. Really impressed. Let's talk about the concession because that's also what's great about them. They're $1.50 hot dogs with the drink.
I've been to a bunch of Costco's in the Baton Rouge and New Orleans area. I had not been to ours yet, though.
So their pizza was pretty good, too.
It's okay.
And it's like $10. It's a giant pizza. Then the slices are like 2 slices on it. But I'm a pepperoni girl, not a Supreme girl.
Supreme, no olives.
I don't like peppers or onions on my pizza. That's
Boo.
Like a no. That's a no deal for me. Yeah, no deal for me.
What other food aversions?
But this is the thing. Okay, this is the whole reason why. So you say, "Oh, I can pick it off."
You can,
which you can, but there's always
it
always feels like there's onions hidden.
There is a hidden onion everywhere,
and then it's so upsetting to me to bite in. And then you hear that crunch of that onion, and then it just ruins the whole experience for you. So I don't like onions and peppers on my pizza. Like it's a.
You don't like that? You don't like the jalapeno pepperoni combo?
Jalapenos, I like the taste of them, but I won't like. So I'll pick them off. I like the seasoning, but if
they're easier to pick off than onions.
Yeah, if there's a little bit of jalapeno on there, I'll eat that. Like that's fine. But jalapenos and onions are a deal breaker for me. I made a breakfast casserole last week, of which you were laughing at me on social media about.
I was partially mistaken because I thought you were using parsley.
No, it was celery greens.
It looked like flat leaf parsley.
Yeah, it was celery greens. And
prove it.
My boyfriend does not like wet bread, and he bit in and got the wet bread and immediately.
This man cannot eat a pistolette, is what you're trying to tell me.
Spit it out.
Crawfish pistolette, he can't have it.
So he doesn't like stuffing. He said French toast is a little okay. I'm assuming that he doesn't like bread pudding either. So are there any foods out there that you would just like spit out of your mouth and just be like, disgust? I just get aggravated. Like the onion and green pepper thing is like an aggravation to me. I won't spit it out if I
capers.
Eat it.
I absolutely hate capers. I think they're little sour, salty berries that are entirely too expensive, and I can't believe that someone's job is to pick that off of a prickly little plant, pickle it, and feed it to other human beings. I get a lot of flack because I hate salmon.
I'm not the biggest fan of salmon either.
Tastes like dirt fish. I grew up my whole life catching bass and brim out of fresh water, and then someone gave me a piece of salmon, and I was like, "Oh, what did y'all leave this out on the counter for 2 days before feeding it to me?"
It's very fishy, and that's also why I don't like it.
You can't say a fish tastes fishy. You have to say it tastes like dirty or strong or bold. But if you say a fish tastes fishy, you're just saying, "Oh, that sky looks awfully skyy."
No, there is a distinct difference.
Oh, there's not a distinct. Because fresh salmon tastes like bad sea bass.
Fresh seafood does not have a smell or taste to it.
Fresh salmon does.
Salmon does. Salmon has like that fishy.
Comes right out the water tasting like that. Good Lord.
To it. So capers.
Yeah, hold on.
salmon.
I had another one that Coach picks on me for all the time. I'm not a huge fan of what you call that, the little fish eggs.
Oh,
caviar.
I'm not either. There's certain ones.
I've had some really nice, really expensive ones. I can't do it. They just burst.
Yeah, the big ones, it's a texture thing. The little ones I can do.
I can handle the texture. It's that fact that when they
at Charlie G's have the little ones.
Yeah, which is okay.
On the potato dish, I love that.
We had it on the potato dish.
Oh,
man,
God,
we don't do that anymore.
So
that smashed
good.
potato dish
it was like
with
a roasted potato with creme fraiche, and then it had the.
It was like some kind of avocado creme fraiche too.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was a great dish. Didn't sell at all.
Really?
Yeah, I know. You would. It was like the best of all. That was Jacob and Holly had done that, and it was like when we were doing that menu, we were like, dude, this is the bomb. This one's gonna be so fire. They didn't sell.
Wow. So okay, I feel a little better knowing that you have some aversions to food there too.
And you know what else? I hate pickles. I like all things pickled.
Really?
Pickled okra, pickled green beans, pickled quail eggs. I like cucumbers the way God intended them. Truth.
See, I don't like raw. I don't like regular cucumbers, but I like pickled.
I like pickled
There's
carrots, pickled red onions, pickled ginger, all that.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't like in its natural form, but I like it pickled, like watermelon rind, like watermelon.
I love watermelon. Coach pickled watermelon rinds, and I was wondering why she wasted our time with that. It was terrible.
No, that's good.
You know what else she does? She pickles cherries. And those are delicious, and I hate that I like them. They're awesome.
I want to taste that.
Swing by Charlie G's and bug her for it. Look, she's got it in the fridge. You can just be like, Jesse ratted you out. He said you have some in the cooler. Nice. See, because she did some salmon pastrami that me and her learned how to do last year, and she put all kind of stuff with that. I think that cherries went with that.
What are some of your favorite Christmas cookies? Since we're
all right, so you know those tins.
The Danish cookies.
The Danish cookies. They all different. Cookies? They all different shapes, and some of them have like the sugar and the raw on top of them, but they all the same butter cookie.
Those are the kind that you
love that.
So
okay.
The day after Christmas, when they're half off,
I'm at Mom. No, I'm passing through Maman's, or I used to pass through Uncle Winston's because they all worked and had all these people. They would drop 5 or 6 tins of them off. I would just, like, if they were Girl Scout cookies, I'd snag those suckers. And I'd fill Mom's up with aluminum tins.
I love shortbread cookies. That's
close. Kryptonite. That's almost the same thing.
Yeah. And Great Harvest has a great one. They're like huge and square. And then if you take the Cochon Cannery caramel, the bacon caramel, and kind of drizzle that on it, it is spectacular. My grandmother also makes these. They're no-bake chocolate peanut butter oatmeal cookies. And they are so good too. She also does something. It's Reese's. It's not Reese's. It's Ritz crackers with peanut butter in the middle, and then she dips them in chocolate.
Yeah. Last year I had done some peanut butter oatmeal egg white no bake stuff for Peach, my puppy. I made some little no bake cookies for her. I don't exactly remember the recipe, but they were good. I had to try one before I gave it to her, you know.
Did she enjoy it?
Oh, she ate. She whopped the whole bag.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, for a few weeks, I would find them all over in the house, tucked away in little corners and stuff.
She was saving them for later.
Yeah, stashing.
What are some other Christmas desserts that you're a fan of?
I always like the fruit salad with the whipped cream in it.
Really?
And that's like when I think
you would like my family's.
Well, back when we used to have family stuff and do family stuff, before all my family all hated each other, we would have these big, Cajun Christmases where Uncle Winston would cook shrimp etouffee, and my sister and I would sit and we would make the dessert, which that fruit salad with the whipped cream, and condensed milk in that. Phew. I like that a lot.
It's a very 50s.
Yeah, well, I also dig the sweet potato pie this time of year too.
I do too. I'm a big fan.
And I didn't like that as a kid, and I grew up into that. Well, my mama, the one who taught me how to cook, God bless her, Maureen, she makes the best pecan pie ever. And since she's not around anymore, I can't even attempt it without disgracing her name.
Really?
It's like that. I feel that strongly about it.
My grandmother used to make the most amazing cinnamon rolls, and I inherited all of her recipes. Ooh. And I've been trying to find them. But my grandfather told me that she told him one time that she just, whatever amount of, it was like a regular cinnamon roll recipe, but whatever amount of butter it said to double. No, it was probably like quadruple. And that was what the secret was, is the amount of butter that she put in these cinnamon rolls. So I'm gonna have to try it.
The last couple of years, I had been making eggnog cheesecakes with ginger snap crusts on them, and I'm gonna be making a couple of those for Pops and my friend Amy and some people like that. But that about wraps it up.
All right. Well, we're off. We're not going to be on the air for the next 2 weeks. We'll be back with you guys in January. That's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Happy holidays.